Every business wants good customer reviews. Every customer wants a good experience. So what happens when both sides click? Or in some cases, when they don't? From Yelp and Entrepreneur Media, this is Behind the Review.
Behind the review, dig deeper too. Behind the review, get all the news. Food, flowers, fixing, make business boom. Behind the review, dig deeper too.
I'm Emily Washcovick, Yelp's small business expert, and the host of this podcast, Behind the Review. This is episode 151, what I'm going to mark down as Season 3, Episode 1. And today, I'm going to take some time to recap a few of my favorite themes and takeaways from the last 50 episodes from Season 2. Plus, I'm going to give you a sneak peek at what to expect this season. When we first started this show back in November of 2020, our main goal was to tell stories of great local businesses providing exceptional experiences. We talked to owners, founders, and even managers sometimes to hear from the business how they came to be and the goods or services they provide. We also talked to one of the business's customers who wrote a Yelp review. And this helps us get those valuable insights about how consumers think and what you can do as a business to connect with them and ultimately grow your business. Now, nearly 4 years later, I can say we've told some amazing stories and met some incredible people. And whether it's a restaurant or a plumbing business, an auto mechanic or an ice cream shop, the themes for what make a business successful are the same. I've always said that the only true way to impact your online reputation and your reviews is by providing a great customer experience offline. There are so many businesses out there that still to this day don't engage with their Yelp profile, but they have amazing pages. And those places are always doing something on the customer service front to have that reputation. What you do in your business or in person with your customers will be reflected online. And the best way to get positive reviews is to wow your customer. I want to make sure I'm clear though. Claiming and engaging with your Yelp page is extremely valuable and important. Yelp helps you connect with customers and is really just an extension of what you do in person. It helps you hear your customers' opinions. And sometimes it's one of the only ways to hear from your customers. Previous guest Elizabeth from Adela's Country Eatery really reminded me of this.
As a takeout-only restaurant, we count on that Yelp page to see what customers are actually thinking. So this is really critical for us. We got on it pretty early because we were small. So with about 75% of our business being takeout to begin with, we had to use Yelp as more customer feedback. So if you have only about 3 tables in the restaurant or maybe 4, enough of that is going to rely on Yelp for some kind of immediate feedback. Now, this one checks Yelp every day on the way into the restaurant and on the way back from the restaurant, just in case she missed anything the night before, and then she checks it again before going to bed. It's just because she's really curious about her Yelp reviewers. She wants to know what our customers think. And we're really grateful for the customers who have honest, detailed reviews.
Your Yelp page is also a place to express who you are, not just listen to what your customers have to say. The most important thing about claiming and managing your free Yelp business page or any online listing is ensuring your business information is accurate and complete so you can get more visibility when people in your area are searching for what you offer. Miriam, owner of the personal training group MF Strong, had great advice about how to do this well.
I remember you had mentioned something when we were setting it up to not use like, we don't do this. And sometimes when I talk about my business, I do say that, right? I'll say we don't do diet culture. We don't do the shame and the blame and the guilt. So it was very important for me to, okay, I have to edit that and say what we do offer versus what we don't offer. Because again, if someone's searching, I want the stuff we offer to pop up. I was able to take all of these things I'd already written about the business and just adjust to make sure it was really focusing on what we do offer. So inclusivity, welcoming, positive, weight inclusive, all of those types of things, just to make it really clear in case someone is searching for that, or if they're not searching for it and they're just searching for personal training and they can click through and be like, oh, that's amazing.
We're going to take a quick break. Be right back. You're a growing business, which means you need every spare hour you can find. That's why the most successful growing businesses are working together in Slack. Slack is where work happens, with all your people, data, and information in one AI-powered place. Start a call instantly in huddles and ditch cumbersome calendar invites. Or build an automation with Workflow Builder to take routine tasks off your plate. No coding required. Grow your business in Slack. Visit slack.com to get started. Sometimes business owners tell me that they don't engage with their online reviews because they think it's mostly angry people complaining. But on Yelp, that's just not the case. We have more 5-star reviews than 1, 2, and 3-star reviews combined. And that's been true the entire 10 years I've been at Yelp. So avoiding online reviews because you're afraid of the critical is a huge missed opportunity. And hey, if you're honest with yourself, you would want to know if your service wasn't 5 stars, right? Former guest Wade, owner of Heirloom Engravers, said it best.
The main thing was it was always high standard. It was always, we will deliver on time and it is going to look good. And there are no ifs, ands, or buts. And if it isn't right, we will fix it. We will take care of it. We're not going to make excuses. We're going to do it with a smile and we're not going to give you any attitude.
I definitely understand the feeling of being more receptive to criticism or negative feedback in person versus through an online review. But regardless of how the customer chooses to share their experience, it's important for you to show up and engage with it. Or as I say, reflect your customer service practices for all potential customers to see. Reviews are important, and engagement is powerful.
I love them. The back end, we get an email whenever somebody writes a review, which is awesome. And when it comes in, I'll be honest, when it comes in, I'm like, I'm not going to read this right now because I always want to be in a really good headspace. I want to be like, if it's a 1-star or a 5-star, I want to be able to read it and absorb it and react logically if there needs to be a reaction, or let it hit me emotionally. And so I take the time to carve out whatever it is, like 30 minutes. And I'm like, I'm going to block this in case I need to just absorb it. But then I always take that time to then email. If it's a current member, I'll email them and say, thank you so much for taking the time and to write this review that you feel is helpful to us and also helpful to the next person that could come in and could be training right next to you, and have them look over at you and be like, I'm here because that review you wrote was awesome. And that took away the gym intimidation in order for me to actually make the progress to actually do something and get out of what I was in order to get into something new or what have you. So reviews mean a lot to me. And honestly, I very right to the heart with them.
And in a lot of businesses, your customer service and communication can lay the foundation to avoid frustration. My conversation with the husband and wife owners of Insectech Pest Solutions really explained the impact well.
It's kind of like a 3-legged stool, if you will, where we have great technicians in the field. We have the great people on the phone, customer service, customer support, administration. But what people forget about, the third stool that I talk about, is actually what Jenny was pivotal in creating, is the back office. The back office is so important. The back office is scheduling, it's billing, it's stuff like making sure a customer doesn't get billed multiple times, and then that generates another call and it generates a negative call, right?
I handled most of the incoming calls at the beginning. It comes back to, I don't want the negative work that comes from it. I don't want the negative phone call about being overbilled. I didn't want the negative complaint that my tech didn't show up. So when we created kind of the process of how that's going to look, we made sure that would never happen. And then we really wanted to enforce that on our administrative staff in the office now, or that are handling our customer service, because they have to deal with that. You go through these steps that sometimes it could be a tedious step or a multi-step process to check that every account, we have a saying, no accounts left behind. We have a monthly review or weekly review of appointments that didn't get service for whatever reason. A customer couldn't do it or we couldn't show up. They don't get left behind. They get a follow-up the next week. We ensure they get their service that month. We ensure they're getting it, because if they don't, then you get the negative, I got overbilled. I didn't get my service this month. We just wanted to make it an easy work environment. At the end of the day, it's just bugs. We're not scheduling brain surgery. We want them to go home and enjoy their family lives and still want to come back and handle customer support calls. And it's funny, when we've hired administrative staff, they've come from other customer service centers or companies, and they're like, all of your customers are so nice. Like, why are they so nice to us? Because they were like answering the phone call ready to fight, but they all really are just, because you treat them with the respect and you give them a good service, there's nothing for them to be mad about. They can't call in and be upset. And when you answer the phone call so friendly and you ask about them, they're not going to come attacking. We showed that through these steps, you're able to control the kind of environment you're working in, the kind of incoming communication you're getting from the clients, and creating that environment that you want to work in.
When you think about systems and processes to communicate with customers, remember that it's not just to help your business run smoothly. It's to avoid frustration with customers and the extra time and energy it takes to resolve those problems. And that doesn't mean you get ahead of every problem.
If you're running a really solid business, you know you're doing a good job, you know your employees are great, just with odds, you're going to get some bad reviews. We try our hardest to reach out to them and make things right, but sometimes that's not they're just unreasonable. The customer may not always be right, but you do need to listen to them. And usually there is some truth in what they're saying, even if they're somewhat unreasonable. There's something where you can take the blame and you can learn from and you can improve. And so if we do get a negative review, I definitely trust and have faith in our employees, and I get their side of the story before we reach out to the customers. But we always listen. We always do what's best for the customer. And in many cases, we go overboard in terms of refunding money. We've had some instances where stuff accidentally gets broken around the home. A hose reel got broken, and our strategy is rapid response, that smother strategy, where we give them attention as soon as possible. We let them know that they're in good hands and that we're going to take care of it. If we have to send out a provider, a plumber or something like that to go fix a leaky irrigation line or something like that, we're going to get them out that same day, and the customer's not going to worry about it.
Reviews can be a powerful tool to help with team morale and operations. You don't want to overlook those positive customer experiences or only wait to problem solve a critical review.
It's always been a head scratcher to me when business owners feel contentious about reviews. I mean, gosh, sure, they're not all positive, and sometimes it can feel like it's unfair or whatnot. But at the end of the day, especially for a small business, even our size, It's probably the most valuable way for us to get feedback from our guests on a regular basis. Our leadership team reviews all reviews that come in every morning at 8:45 and just talks about who's going to follow up on what and what we can do to share the feedback internally. And there's three sides to every story, so we're always really careful about how we handle it with our team and with our guests. I know this sounds cliche, but I really take it as a gift, and I personally am highly attuned. If you look at our feedback to guests, you'll see that it will come from me personally from time to time, because any information or time that our guests take to share their experiences, I take that really seriously personally, and I want to be part of the communication back to them, and it helps me understand what trends are going on with our shops and customers and competitors. It's bittersweet, but it's great to have. So I'm all in on reviews.
And sometimes you need to realize that your business isn't for everyone. Sometimes a critical review is describing exactly who you are and what customers should expect. So you have to get okay with that. Crystal from Yo Mamas gives some great advice.
When I look at negative reviews, first I look at the reviewer. I'll click the reviewer and see if they're just the only time they post is negative things. So if all they post are negative reviews, that means the only time they ever review is when they're mad. So that means they won't even review me if they're happy. So I just kind of take that review as they might have had a bad day and I had nothing to do with it. If it's price sensitive, I have nothing to do with that. Understand that everybody doesn't have the disposable income to come to me, and I'm okay with that because that's not my customer base, and I'm okay with that. I have some people that are coming to my restaurant because they have fixed income, so I only expect to see them on the 1st, the 15th, the third Wednesday of the month because they have fixed income. I don't spend money to obtain these customers, but I give customer service to these customers. So it's like, as a business owner, you have to navigate and know who is your actual customer that you're trying to obtain and who is the customer that just clearly walks through the door from word of mouth. Because some people will be in a city and they will come in from word of mouth from either the airport, or they went to the Civil Rights Museum, or they are just downtown and they hit the best places near me. And when they come in, it's like, yeah, you may say that this price is $15 for chicken and waffle. It's $15.35 when taxes included. But if you compare mine to anybody else's, I kill theirs and I'm $3 cheaper. When you have that, you set a standard, you give a product, you give quality, and you stick to it. Because again, if you're price sensitive, you're not my customer.
At the end of the day, your online reputation starts with the in-person experience. Whether customers come to you or you go to them, whether you sell a product or provide a service. I know you got into business because you wanted to serve a need or fill a hole or a gap you saw in the market. And if you stick to that and prioritize your customer service, the online reputation will follow. And remember, you won't be everyone's cup of tea, but you can work to create great experiences. And if you have employees or team members, they have the ability to do that too. And they also have the ability to negatively impact it. Steve from Steve's Auto Care really believes that if you treat your employees well, they'll treat your customers well.
My whole approach is like, how would I treat my family? I treat everybody as if they were my family. So that you still have to run a business and make money. I mean, don't get me wrong. Business is about making money and profit, but you can also do it in such a way where you have both. You provide ethics and do things the way you think you can save people some money, and also make yourself money to provide your employees with benefits, retirement, which I do all of those things. So yeah, my employees get full benefits. They even get money into their retirement accounts from me, and we make people happy. So you can do it.
And remember, there are always benefits to being a small local business. That customer experience is much easier to create and influence.
For other businesses or other business owners that are watching, I feel for you for the challenges. But if you're a small business, you can do the same. If you've got small fish, you can really control how you treat people, and ultimately that then controls the reviews.
And that concludes our episode. I hope you enjoyed it and were able to take a thing or two away to implement in your own life. Whether it's a new idea that you can bring back to your business or a fresh perspective on how to be a positive influence as a consumer, we share these stories to inspire and create more meaningful connections in your local community.